Hello and welcome. I'm Louise Duso, Director of Youth Ministry for the Diocese of Providence. Our diocese is offering you an abbreviated version of our Youth Christian Leadership Institute, which is and has been held in more than 75 other dioceses throughout the U.S. and internationally. Welcome to an amazing opportunity to develop or hone your skills for Christian leadership and service. We provide this program to give you the information and formation practice you need to be effective in leading or assisting with leadership in any organization or group you are involved with. This will happen in a few different ways as you go through this process. There'll be video clips with principles that you need to understand. There'll be activities, role plays, exercises that you need to do either on your own or with the group. There'll be materials with surveys, evaluations that you will need to complete. There'll be some questions for your reflection, and at times you may be asked to share your responses to these questions with others or the group. There'll be fun, faith-enriching, and friend-making. In fact, one of the images we'll use is teaching you how to juggle. Juggling is an important skill for leaders, and juggling itself is also a fun way to reduce stress or to change the type of stress you're having in a situation. Your parish or Catholic school will have its own leader facilitator who will walk you through this process. They'll help you choose the details of how your group will complete this program. As you participate, you'll be affirmed and challenged as you grow in your role as a Christian leadership. There will be the opportunity for hands-on practice of skills, both during this program and after, even with the possibility of working with other groups. All programs are only as effective as the persons participating in them make them. So we encourage you to give your very best in order to gain the most from this experience. There's a story we'd like to share with you. There was a man named Simon who lived in Krakow in Poland. He didn't own a great deal, and he lived in a small cottage. One night, while sleeping, Simon had a dream. He dreamed of the faraway city of Prague. He had never been there, but in his dream, he saw a bridge, which somehow he knew was outside Prague. He could sense that there was under this bridge some treasure that was meant specifically for him. He didn't know what it was supposed to be, and he couldn't see it, but he found himself looking under the bridge for it. Simon woke, and it was still dark, but he remembered parts of the dream, and his sense that here was something he was supposed to find was so strong that he sat up in bed and felt compelled to get up and travel to Prague. He shook it off, though. It was just a dream, and he'd never been there. It was a long journey, so he went back to sleep. A week later, Simon had the same dream. This time, he could see the road outside of Prague, which led to the bridge, and found himself traveling it. When he reached the bridge again, he felt strongly that there was a treasure beneath it specifically for him. Still, he didn't know what it was, and he woke, still in his mind, trying to find it. This time it was early morning, and he got out of bed and began to put things together to go to Prague. After a few moments, he came totally awake and stopped himself. He said to himself, "I still don't know where I'm going, or even really why. You just don't do this." And so he settled for a morning walk and an early breakfast and went on with his day, dismissing the dream. Well, another week went by, and once again, Simon dreamed of Prague, of his treasure, and of the bridge. This time when he woke up, it was so real to him, and the journey so vivid, that he decided to go, crazy or not. And so he did. He traveled long, but eventually he approached Prague. Sure enough, outside the city was the road of his dream, and it did lead to a bridge. When he saw it, he could scarcely believe it. It was exact. The dream was reality. He approached the bridge and began to walk under it as he had in his dream. Now he was at a total loss. He had never seen what the treasure was or how to find it. He only knew it was there. So he wandered about, poking at the beams, uselessly. "You there, what are you doing?" came a loud and gruff voice. and a man in uniform appeared looking suspiciously at Simon. "I'm looking for something. I've traveled a long way." "Well, there's nothing here. Take off." But Simon only said, "Who are you?" "I am the guard assigned to this bridge. It is my job to expedite travel and to maintain the bridge and report any problems. What are you looking for?" "There's nothing here. I've been here for years." And so Simon tried to explain. He told the guard about his dreams and about the treasure he was sure was there. And when he was finished, the guard was laughing loudly. "Ha! Do you mean that you've made a long journey just to find some treasure of your dream? You are foolish. Let me give you an example. You must be sensible about life. Why, for years I've had a dream, too, about some man named Simon who lives in Krakow. That's really far from here. And he has some stove in his small cottage. And there's a treasure under it. Now, do you think I'd be foolish enough to travel to a city I've never seen and dig up this man's house? No way. You better take off, man." And so Simon did turn and leave. He was confused. He had been so sure that there was something beneath the bridge for him. But the guard's words haunted him. A Simon? In Krakow? And so he traveled the long way home. When he reached Krakow and eventually sat in his little cottage, he looked at the old stove that sat in the corner of the room, and he thought, and he decided. So he got up and began to move the stove. Then he painstakingly pried up the wooden floorboards. And sure enough, hidden beneath the floor, beneath the stove, was a treasure. And it was enough to last Simon for the rest of his life and to provide for others in Krakow, and for many he had never yet met. When the rabbis tell this story, they like to say that all the time the treasure was with Simon in Krakow, but the knowledge of the treasure was in Prague. I'd like to turn this over now to discuss leadership styles, and it'll be Mr. Steve Vargas who will lead you in that process.
Hi there. I'm Steve Vargas. I'm a youth minister for the Diocese of Providence for over 25 years. And thank you, Deuce. I'm thrilled to talk about leadership skills and leadership styles. What does it take to be a leader? What qualities do leaders have? Think about leaders in history. Think about great leaders that you know in your lives. What qualities do they have? I'd like you to have a brainstorming session with the people you're with right now. When you brainstorm, you just throw out some ideas. There's no wrong answers. We're going to pause the video while you create a list of the qualities of a leader. Welcome back. How's your list? Maybe you thought that they were good communicators. Maybe leaders are smart and inspire you. Perhaps they're creative. Maybe humble. I bet they have integrity and show respect. What about compassion or empathy? Were those words on your list? Good leaders are dedicated and honest. Well, that's quite a list. And I bet your list had a lot more. To help you discover some of the leadership skills you have, we're going to take a survey. And remember, a survey is not a test. There are no wrong answers, as long as you're honest. When you answer the questions in this survey, answer honestly about how you actually are when you're part of a group, not on how you'd like to be. We're going to pause the video now while you take your survey and answer honestly. Welcome back. Now that you've completed the survey and scored it, let's take a look at what it means. You've been scored on two separate functions, task functions and maintenance functions. Task is focusing on the task at hand, getting the job done. Maintenance is making sure the group works well to accomplish the task. Both functions are crucial in leadership and equally important. If you are all task and no maintenance, you may complete every task while your group is exhausted because they've worked for hours without food or a break. But if you're all maintenance and no task, you may have a well-fed, rested group that likes each other, but gets nothing done. Good leaders find a balance. Your scoring page has a column for each function, task, and maintenance. Your score for each should be between 10 and 50. More important than each score is, it's the relationship between them that counts. You naturally focus on whichever number is higher. Those of you with a higher task number will most naturally focus on what needs to be done, while those of you with a higher maintenance number will focus on how well the group works together. If your numbers are even or close to it, you probably find it easy to focus on both. But make no mistake, you have the ability to focus on both. If your numbers are 48 task and 12 maintenance, you're still able to focus on the needs of the group. If you scored 50 maintenance and 10 task, you're still able to get the job done. These numbers do not determine how good of a leader you are. They just give you a glimpse of your natural tendencies when you find yourself as a member of a group. How much you focus on the task or maintenance each time you find yourself leading a group depends upon the situation. This is called situational leadership. There'll be situations when a leader needs to be more directive, focused on the task. And there'll be times when they need to be more supportive, focused on maintenance. The combination of directive and supportive behavior that a leader uses in each situation determines the leadership style that's needed. There is a figure on a page in your packet that illustrates this concept very well. We're going to pause the video while you locate the situational leadership figure. Welcome back. You'll see the horizontal axis along the bottom of the figure gives you the level of directive behavior that's used from low to high. The vertical axis along the side, the left side, shows the supportive behavior used from top to bottom, low to high. If a leader uses a high level of direction and a low level of support, they'll fall into the directing leadership style. There are plenty of situations where this is the most appropriate style to use. Can you think of one? I can. Emergencies. When the fire alarm goes off, a high level of direction is just what the group needs. If the ship is sinking, the leader probably should not ask all the participants and passengers which lifeboats they feel comfortable using. A directing leadership style would also be the best choice when group members lack information or experience. Let's say your group's event is to plan a pasta dinner, and this is the first time your group is planning this type of fundraiser, and no group members have ever been to one. Then it makes sense that the leader may need to use a more directing style of leadership. The next style is a coaching style, and that's used when the leader uses high directive and high supportive behaviors. The leader will still use a good deal of direction, but will also listen more to the group members. The second or third time your group plans that same pasta dinner, that offers the leader a chance to invite group members to take on some task functions. The next leadership style is called supporting. That's when the leader uses a low amount of direction, but a high level of support. The task functions and problem solving are left up to the group members, while the leader's role is to answer questions, motivate the group, and affirm the group members. Finally, a delegating leadership style. That's when the leader uses a low amount of both directive and supportive behaviors. When the group members have all the direction they need and are working well together, the leader can take a step back and get out of the group's way. The leadership style you should use depends upon the situation you are in. Consider the situation. What needs to be done? What are the details? Consider the group members. What are their strengths? What are their gifts and talents that they bring? What level of experience do they have? And consider yourself as the leader. What are your natural tendencies towards task and maintenance? What strengths, gifts, and talents do you bring? How much direction and support should you provide? Remember, you're leaders every day, and you've got the leadership skills inside you. Just as Simon had the treasure in him all along, but had to go on a journey, you're journeying every day, using your leadership skills to determine which leadership style you'll use, depending on which situation you find yourself in. Just by the fact that you're here, watching a video like this, tells me that you're leaders.